I'm here with Kieran Mcginn, who's playing the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. I am going to keep looking at my phone because my questions are on here because I'm not clever enough to remember them all. So what's it like working with the rest of the cast?
We've only met briefly because obviously we auditioned separately and we've only been together for a very short amount of time, but we've had a lot of laughs today. We did a photo shoot out in the wind by the North Pier, bits were flying everywhere, and the dogs are there and everything. We seem to have gelled very, very quickly, and judging by the sort of personalities, I think we're going to have a really good time on this job.
Yeah, you probably won't know if you've I didn't realise you'd only just met properly, but I was going to ask if any of them had any bad habits.
I don't know if bad habits is the word, but Holly is very much an Instagrammer, so she likes to take moments, which is great because even today she's managed to capture like some really fun moments that would have been missed had she not.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I love social media, so I wouldn't call it a bad habit, but she's definitely got that going. And Kelvin, I don't know. I think time will tell. Yeah, and then you'll have to ask them about mine after some time as well.
I'm sure I'll find out off Holly. If you were to visit the Wizard of Oz, what would you ask him for and why?
Oh, that's a good question. If I could visit and ask for anything, I think what I'd ask for is to be able to change my body shape. Like, you know, like shapeshifters, a bit of a geek, but like I'd love to be able to, like, I don't know, be like a lamp in a room, like of like world leaders or something, and hear what they talk about, or turn into like, I don't know, a frog and like hop around, you know, try and experience all those kinds of things. I think as an actor, you're trying to learn the body language of so many different things, and you utilise it. So it would be really fun to actually know what those animals or people felt like.
Yeah, I didn't expect a lamp or a frog. So you said in the press conference you've just done a tour of Officer and a Gentleman, but I know you've done other shows as well. I looked you up before I met you. But what's been your favourite show that you've done so far and why?
So again, that's a very good question. I think there are elements from all the shows that you take with you, and each production I've been in has been such a huge learning experience that everyone is invaluable. But I would have to say that Motown at the Shaftesbury Theatre in London was, for me, some of the best years of my performing life, in that the energy of the entire cast and the creative team and the legends that were involved that came to, you know, because we were playing real people in this show, and they were involved in the artistic process. I've met some people in those 2 years that will stay, you know, with me for the rest of my life, because we really, really got on, had so much in common, and were really passionate about what we were doing. Yeah. So for that for me is probably the highlight so far.
I've not seen that show. I need to see it.
Oh, you must do. The gentleman playing Barry Gordy is a friend of mine, so I can have a word with him and hopefully get you some tickets again, because it'd be a good one to go and see. Yeah.
With the camera. Oh, it comes everywhere with this camera.
Absolutely.
I also read as well that you've been in a Jessie J music video.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very, very well researched. Yes, it's. So when she first released her song "Do It Like a Dude," there were two concepts, or there were several concepts that were floated, and they filmed those. The video that got released, I am actually in it, but I'm in very soft focus because it's all women, if you may recall. But there are a few characters in there that may look like women, but they're not.
I'm going to go when I get home. I'm going to have a look at that, see if I can spot you.
If you can screen grab a shot that you think is me and send it to me, I'll be very impressed.
If I can find it, I'll put it in this video so you can all have a look. Did you get to meet her?
Jessica's a friend of mine from a very long time ago. Yeah.
I was going to say, is she as nice as she seems to be, but if she's your friend, then obviously
again, because she's so busy and you know, our worlds are so separate. But you know, I met her years and years ago in the National Youth and Music Theatre, and we stayed friends. And you know, my auntie is good friends with her mum, and you know, so there's a lot of crossover. Contact with her sisters very often, you know. So she's
Jones.
Yeah.
I love Jessie J.
She's a very, very hard worker. She's from a very young age. She's put in a lot of graft to get where she's gone.
If you could play anyone in any show or musical, who would it be and why?
Any show or any musical? Wow. I don't think I can answer that, because not in a way that I think that you would hope, unfortunately, because each character is, they can be similar to you or they can be different, but each one has its challenges.
Yeah.
So there's no role where I think, oh, I'd love to play it. I'd rather just a role that I can sink my teeth into, and I wouldn't take the job if I didn't feel like that was the case.
Yeah.
So every single job, there's been elements of it. Like on the tour, I was little part, but I was understudying some really, really interesting meaty parts that were very different physically from me. So even there, I had a lot of work to do, just so I would be ready to go on for those parts. So again, it's more to do with how much growth and learning I can do in each of the roles. So unfortunately, I can't select a role that I would go, oh yeah, that's for me. I think it's just a case of, is there circumstances that are interesting for the character to overcome, and is there some challenge in it for me? Is there something that's going to require work? I don't want something that's just easy. I don't necessarily just want to play myself on stage, Yeah. So I think that's the only way I can really truthfully answer that question.
Most embarrassing moment on stage?
Wow. Okay, so I can answer this really, really clearly. So I did a production that actually did tour to Blackpool about 5 years ago, and I was playing a character who at one point has to be in a prison cell on stage for the whole of another number, and then I have to sing a song. And the intro was starting, and I was lying on this bed thinking, I can't remember the words at all. And the intro goes around like 4 times, I think. And so by the second time I thought, this always happens. It always happens. You forget what you're about to say, but as it starts, the words just come out. So as it got to the point where I was about to sing, I thought, just open your mouth and sing, because it always comes out. So I literally just went, and nothing came out, like it was nonsense. And the guy who was my understudy was in his dressing room upstairs, or it was somewhere else in the theatre, heard it, ran, because he thought something had happened to me on stage, and I just heard from the front row in the audience someone going, who's forgotten the words?
Oh, no.
It was mortifying.
I think that's something that I do. I do a lot of amateur dramatics and stuff like that, and I'm a singer as well. Holly said she does the pubs and clubs. Well, she used to do the pubs and clubs, and that's kind of what I do, but I think when I forget the words, I can get away with it, because I just hold the mic out and let everyone else do it. Because they're all really well-known songs, so it's fine.
It doesn't often happen, but, we're all human. You can never really predict what's going to happen. No. But the working in clubs and stuff are really good. Like, I've met some fantastic vocalists, because you really have to get solid vocals to be able to carry over the noise and to capture an audience and bring the attention in. So it's good training, really good training.
Have you got anything else exciting lined up after The Wizard of Oz?
At the minute, no. This is the world of theatre. As I said, I just literally finished a tour, so my only free time has just started to start auditioning for new projects. But the rehearsals for this don't start for a while, so I'll be probably constantly in auditions trying to line up the year ahead. But yeah, at the minute, no, it's kind of quiet, but I'm grateful for that, because touring week to week in a different city can be quite tiring.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nice
I've only come from Manchester and I'm knackered. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this one. I might get shouted at for this. But obviously in the film, the Scarecrow sings If I Only Had a Brain.
Uh-huh.
Can we hear a tiny little bit?
I haven't started rehearsals yet, and it's way too early for me to sing. But I'm going to decline, not because I'm a killjoy, I just don't think you'll get the right, as good a vocal as I could probably give you. But come along.
Yeah, come and watch the show and you can
come
see
along.
it. Do you have a message for anybody watching this?
A message?
Yeah, or just anything that you'd like to say or that you want them to know?
No, not really. Like, I mean, I hope that if you see this and you're interested, do come along and see the show. It's a good one. And I've read the script and the film and seen the film, and I think it touches on so many things that lots of people can identify with. That it's sort of a please all piece of theatre.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that it's sort of light and doesn't have a substance to it. It really does. I think it's also interesting to be in a piece of theatre that's not necessarily based on like pop songs and things, which seems to be the current fashion.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more of a classic piece. So yeah, I'd just be like, if you fancy something a little bit different in the festive period, because there's going to be like pantomimes and lots of Christmas themed shows going around. This has sort of an element of that sort of coming home and the same sort of spirit, but it's not necessarily a Christmas show. So I think it might be quite nice, a nice sort of difference to what's out there at the minute.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, because The Wizard of Oz is one of my absolute favourites.
Yeah.
I've loved it since I was little.
Oh, me too.
I still love it now. I've been in it. I performed over the rainbow at my gigs. I love it. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to come and see it. So make sure you do get your tickets. Come and see Kieran as the Scarecrow. I've seen him in his costume this morning. Was that your full costume? What was it like?
So at the minute there's pieces being made. So it's sort of a temporary costume that's sort of in the style of what's going to be in the show. But no, it's not finalised yet.
Right.
None of them are.
Right, okay. So the bits that you saw earlier on, that's not the full costume, but it looked amazing anyway, so you can imagine how good it is going to look on stage. So do make sure you get your tickets, and I will see you in December.
It's lovely to meet you.
You too, thank you.
Take care.